Hello, everyone. This is a retired guy on Main Street Sanity, a retiree's take. Just going to throw another few things out there today. First, we'll start out with listening to the Democrats. Now a bunch of them are talking about how they're moving to the center. They're getting away from the far left and they're moving to the center. And let's go back in history just a tad. November of last year. Last year. Elections for governor in Virginia. You had Spanbergler, who was touting that she wasn't a radical liberal. She was a more to the center liberal. And that's all she touted. You all drank the Kool-Aid in Virginia. And let's just talk about a few things that Spanbergler did. Well, let's see. She's taxing gas-powered leaf blowers. She no longer allows law enforcement to work with ICE. And what that basically is what we have is now you have criminals that she doesn't bother or care, doesn't bother her or she cares that it could kill your wife, your husband, your daughter, your son, your parents, your grandparents by an illegal alien. What she's more concerned with is panning to the far left of the base, which she is. Already had 2 people killed by illegal aliens. And, once again, her mouth is zipped shut on that. Just like when she was going to when she was at the debate, when at the time Lieutenant Governor Sears asked her, about men and women's sports. And she just sat there with a little smirk on her face, didn't say a word. But where is she at? She wants men and women's sports. So just pay attention. They're going to talk all this stuff because they want you to drink the Kool-Aid, take the worm off the hook. They want you to bite the hook, line, sinker, and pole all at once. That's what they want. Because as soon as they get in the office, what are they going to do? They're going to swing so far left, and you're all going to sit there and say, what happened? Just mark my words. Every liberal who's been elected, who said they're at the center, with the exception of the only Democrat that I have respect for, John Fetterman, has swung to the left. They spew hate, pro-crime, high taxes, sending money to NGOs so we can pay for transgender studies in Ethiopia, transgender Sesame Street in Iraq, all this stuff. That's what they want. And they want illegal aliens to vote, and they want to open our border. That's all they want. I'm just saying, mark my words, that's exactly what's going to come about if they get elected. And let's look at the upcoming primary or upcoming midterms. They've already said, they've told the world and everyone in America they take control of the House, they're going to impeach the President of the United States. That's all they're going to do for 2 years is impeach the President of the United States. I bet you he gets impeached a dozen more times in 2 years. There's going to be no doubt about it. That's all they're going to do. The Senate, that's all they said they're going to do. They're going to oppose everything that he does, everything that he wants. That's all they want to do. They hate the man so much, they'd rather inflict pain on however many people we have in America, 350 million. I don't know how many people are in America. And, but that's all they're going to do is inflict as much pain because they hate him. And they're going to tell you pain is good for you because we're getting back at him. That's their say. Pain is good for you because we're getting back at him. And that's their goal. There's nothing else. They have no policies, none whatsoever. Well, I have to backtrack. Yes, they do. Their policy are, I'll restate them to you: open borders, illegal aliens to vote, or once they come in the country, they're granted citizenship so they can vote, raising taxes, making everyone buy an electric car, raising gas prices to $10 a gallon, raising food prices up, because they've already done that. From 2021 to 24, we saw that. They did that. So everything that happened from 2021 to 2024, when Biden was elected as president, but was not really the president, there was probably a group of people in the White House that were doing everything, because everyone knows Harris wasn't smart enough. So everything that happened in those 4 years, times that by 3, and that's the way it's going to be if they take control of the Congress and the Senate. And some people are going to say, no, that will never happen. They've already said they're going to do it. You just have to listen. So, okay, that's my point on that. My next topic is, let's talk about Iran and what transpired this last weekend, the saving of the Air Force lieutenant or colonel who had to bail out of his plane. Awesome. Once again, United States military, best in the world. But what people aren't saying, there has to be leadership. And the stupid Democrats scoff at Secretary of War Hegseth, but obviously he's doing something right. Recruitment's up. Standards are up. Look at how effective they have been this year, this last year and a half that they've been, President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have been in office. Look how effective they've been with General Kane. The leadership starts at the top. Everyone says the responsibility stops with them, but the leadership starts with them. And it goes downhill from there to everyone else. They want to become a better leader. We got rid of the DEIs and the touchy-feelies. That's not the military. Military there is there to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and everyone in United States of America. That's what they're there for. Protect our rights. And because I remember back in the day when I retired, I don't know if I ever mentioned that, but yes, I did retire from the military. I remember sitting in my office one day when one of my chiefs brought up a new person that just came on board the ship the Friday before, said he had a problem. So what's the problem? He told her to show me. They gave them stress cards. A little card where you put your thumb and your forefinger in this area. You pressed it together for like 10, 15 seconds, don't remember. You let it off. And the colors. If it was like blue, it means, it meant something. If it black, it meant you were stressed. Now, this person had been on board the ship for basically 3.5 days. They did everything right with this person, got her a rack, made sure, had somebody take her around all weekend long, throughout the ship, make sure she got the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, took her around to the spaces that they were in charge of, everything. I mean, I will say one of the few times it never worked great, but it did. It worked great because we tried to enforce that. And Monday rolls around, they were stressed. That's when I said, yeah, I've been here too long because I was a dinosaur. Because I'll always say, ship and the mission came first. Everything else was secondary. But when you were on that ship, the ship and the mission came first. So, but that's quite a few years ago now. But that's when it was starting to roll out. And it gotten worse over the years. And but at least now we have Secretary Hegseth and General Kane cleaning it up. So we go back to having a fighting force that is looked up to around the world and also feared around the world. And that's what you want. But getting that airman, that colonel, out in a shorter period of time they did was truly awesome. And every, I'll say, mission that the president has authorized has been executed flawlessly. Totally flawlessly. And that is credit where credit should be given. And like I said, once again, it starts from the top and goes down. Great leadership at the top, fosters great leadership all the way down. And that's what you want. So kudos to the United States of America Armed Forces for what they did this weekend, because just about every single service was involved. So my hat's off to that. Let's see. Lastly, still disappointed in Republicans. They just need to come back, get rid of the filibuster, and just start approving and doing things the way it's going to be done. Because there's no such thing as a filibuster anymore. Once again, the crazy Democrats have already said, telegraph, they're going to do all this stuff. They're going to pack the courts, open borders, let the illegals vote. They're going to raise taxes. They're going to do all this stuff. They've said it, and people, the stupid Republicans just need to listen. But when you get, and I will call them Democratic Republicans, like McConnell, Murkowski, Massey, Paul, they're useless. I have no problem calling them anti-Americans. They've all been there too long. They've milked this cow for too many years, and they need to get out. Should be term limits anyways. And my last thought on it is, if there's ever a shutdown, I've said this before, Congress, Senate, they do not get paid. Every day the government shut down, they go a month without pay, without anything. That's no medical, nothing. For every day, they lose a month. And they don't get back pay. It's not retroactive. They just lose it. Would it be a nightmare to crack? Probably, but I figure with Secretary Bassett in there, he's pretty smart. He could sit there and just flip a switch and shut it off for them. And I think we should make them vote on that. For every day the government shut down, they lose a month of everything, and they don't get it back. I bet you your government shutdowns wouldn't last very long, would they? They want to inflict pain? Let's inflict pain back. But no one will ever get up and say that, or they would never do it. But I bet you every American in the world, in the United States of America, would vote on it. And it would be a big yes. Let's put that on the ballot. And that'd be a countrywide ballot saying, if you think this should happen, vote yes. And if everyone votes yes, it's law. I think that'd be great. So, alrighty, everyone. That's it for me today. Once again, this is Retired Guy. If you have any questions, email me at retiredguys@myyahoo.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I don't care who they're from or what it is. If I can answer it, I'll give you my honest opinion. That's all I want to give you is my honest opinion. So until then, if you like this one, pass it on, please. Get more views, it'd always be nice. And have a good day.